ओङ्काररूपगमनीयपदारविन्द श्रीवञ्जिभूपकुलदैवत विश्वरूपा शेषेशयान शिवपूजन पद्महस्ता श्रीपद्मनाभ मम देहि करावलम्बम् श्रीपद्मनाभस्वामी शरणं त्रिपादमे गति. Your Highness, Shri Ashok Gajapati Raju, Honorable Justice Somayarajulu, distinguished members on the dais, especially Shri Gasal Srinivasan, equally distinguished audience, a very humble salutations to one and all of you. Reverting a little to legal language, I crave for an anticipatory bail in case I have erred in precedence. I don't know whom I should address first, whom I should address second. I have left out somebody or not. I'm so emotionally moved that I'm finding it difficult to read what is typed on the invitation list. So there is every chance that I have left out, especially the Andhra Saraswata Parishat and Manasi Trust, the officers, the guiding lights behind them. So if I have omitted somebody or other, which I'm sure I have, please, I crave your indulgence and that you would pardon me. I find myself in a somewhat complicated situation because I do not know your mother tongue. Incidentally, there's somebody else I should mention, the grandson of Maharaja. He is sitting right there. How I should start, how I should proceed, and how I should conclude. I'm at a total loss, and I do not know your language, and since most of the deliberations were in your language, I could only pick up some words somewhere here and there, and in between, like the repeated rhythm of Anandam, I kept on hearing the name of Sri Padmanabha Swami. Anyway, I'm indeed honored, very much so, to be a recipient of such a unique and exceptional award given in memory of the great luminary, visionary Maharaja Dr.P.G.Raju. Even as I saw his picture yesterday in the golf club, it reminded me immediately of two people. One, his own grandson who was there, who resembled him so much. And other than that, somewhere all, maybe not in physical resemblance, but because of the inner aura, he reminded me of the person who has been the dearest person to our hearts, the hearts of my collective family, the dearest, the best, the sweetest, the humblest, Maharaja Ramavarma Chithira Thirunal my mother's brother, my uncle. Those of you from the Malayali Samajam who are present here would either know of him personally or vicariously. It is not possible that you have not heard of him. But for the others who are not from our state, maybe you would not have heard of him. But I see in him a lot of echoes of this great, very great personality. The justice said that you should put a dash and say Maharaja. You must never argue with the law. However, while I agree to what he said, he was a Raja. He was a Maharaja without a dash. He was both. Man's memory is somewhat very fickle. They say politics is a fickle mistress. She keeps changing her affiliations. That is what is happening all the time, all over the world, with India being no exception. However, it became the fashion when India became a republic, when the new order came in, the old order bowed out, leaving space for the new order to enter. It became the fashion, or I would say almost a compulsion, to speak ill of the Rajas and Maharajas who ruled different parts of this great subcontinent of India. People wrote books damning them, calling them by all sorts of names they could think of. People who were very much closely in service of the kings, they revelled in writing about their master's doings and misdoings. Maybe there were some which were there, some which were exaggerations, but who is perfect? Are the uncrowned kings of today perfect? Are the Maharajas who have no title today but who rule, are they perfect? Perfection is denied to man. It is the monopoly of God. However, while I do not justify wrongdoings, why should we magnify them? And the Maharajas and the Rajas became the most favored and favorite topics of damnation. That period passed by to an extent, and people started remembering those who did so much for the land and for the people. So much. And some of them escaped censure and were always held with love and with respect, like Maharaja here. I don't think anybody damned him or doomed him or pointed a finger at him. He was always a very special person. Their own Maharaja, their own pride, their own honor, their own Annadata in the real, true sense of the term, Annadata. But he need not have done any of these things, or he need not have done them to this extent, to this degree. He could have stacked up some money in a Swiss bank. He could have lived in a foreign country. He could have moved out. He could have moved out of his own state, gone somewhere else. So many options were there for him. But what he did, you know better than I. He was not just a Raja, just a Maharaja, just a great individual. He was all that, but he was more. He was a phenomenon. He was an institution in himself, one of God's chosen darling children, sent for the betterment of the world. In Malayalam, in my own language, there is a saying which is actually taken from the Sanskrit original about Vedavyasa Bhagavan. When Vedavyasa Bhagavan bifurcate or categorize the 18 Puranas, including the Mahapurana. The quintessence of the whole 18 were condensed in one single line. First line was an introduction, and the second line was the quintessence. In Malayalam, it said, Ashtadasha Puranatil Vyasan Jonnadu Randutan. That's the introduction. Paropakarame Punyam Papame Parapidanam. Punyam is doing virtue, merit is doing good to others, serving others, and bad or sin is that by which you harm others. That was the quintessence of the 18 Puranas, and that is applicable to every single aspect of humanity, irrespective of religion, caste, or creed. I am indeed honored, I repeat, to receive this great award in, I would not say memory, I would say in the living presence of this great Maharaja. Given by very, very illustrious people, including his son, the Justice Srinivasa is there. All of you, I should mention everybody by name, but as I grow older, I keep on messing up names. And my mother had always told me, even if you don't mention somebody's name, please don't mention it wrong. So I feel that instead of messing up, I should not do that. When many of you, I don't know exactly what you spoke, but whatever good things that Srinivasan or the others might have spoken of me, I request the kind audience to take it not with a pinch of salt, but with a bag of salt. I'm sure they're all terrible exaggerations. But I don't really know, so I can't possibly pick up but one thing, of course, is very much there. May I be permitted to introduce myself? I have been introduced in many ways, but may I introduce myself in the way I think I should be introduced? If you want a biodata, I can produce one without window dressing. About 8 or 10 pages I can produce. But otherwise, my biodata is restricted to 2 or 3 lines. I prefer that. And that is the biodata, or my self-introduction, I am taking the liberty to present before you. I am a child of good fortune, Saubhagyathinte Sandati, because I was born into the family of Sri Padmanabhadasas. The term Dasa has 2 interpretations. Either a Dasa could be a servant, or Dasa could be a slave. As we know, the servant has the independence, especially these days, to leave the service of the master if the servant does not wish to work. Because of that, we prefer the second interpretation. My ancient family prefers the interpretation of Dasa as slave, because a slave has no independence of thought or action other than the will of the master. And we are bound, generations and generations of my family, including myself. I was born into the family. I am not a daughter-in-law of the family. I am a member of the family, thank God. But we were all, I would say, the slaves. When you talk of slaves being bound to the master and all that, what comes to your mind are the chains, the iron chains. We are bound to the feet of our adored Padmanabha Swami, our Lord, our Master, our heartthrob, everything, not with iron chains, but with silken strands of bliss, Anandathinte pattunoolu kondu, in silken strands of bliss. What more can we ask? What more do we want? Except to pray, Bhagavan, as long as the sun and the moon shine, as long as the stars and the constellations move in the firmament, as long as our family lives, dear God, let us continue to be your dasas. Let your thought fill our minds, our hearts, the flow of our blood, the throb of our pulse, the beat of our heart. Let us be yours and you ours. That is my only prayer. I am exceptionally fortunate that because of His Highness and also the executive officer and the people of the temple and Srinivasa's magic wand, I had a most, Hari Krishnan came with me, we both had a wonderful darshan at the temple. It was really a very awe-inspiring and moving darshan of, and that also even the concept. It is there is a Varahamurti and there is Narasimha Swami, Lakshmi Narasimham joined together. I mean, and the temple is so famous. I've heard of the temple many times over and over and over again. But this is the first time that He, the Bhagavan, permitted me to come and have His darshan. That was wonderful. And we went to another temple also. I have forgot, that is a Devi. Kanaka Mahalakshmi temple. That was also Swayambhu. That was also a great privilege and a great experience. And I thank you and all of you for that. The Justice mentioned that earlier on the same platform, possibly on the same spot, another legal luminary stood and spoke to you, Shri Gopala Subramani, senior advocate Gopala Subramani, criminal lawyer, who was amicus curiae to our case in the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple. It is not my goodness of heart, nor the feeling that you should not talk unnecessary things in public, that makes me put a stop to saying much more on that particular topic. Anyway, that is not my topic, what is it? However, I wonder, what is the interpretation, implication, expansion and elaboration of the term amicus curiae? I do not want to say anything more, but the report that this illustrious gentleman gave to the Supreme Court, 500 pages, mainly defaming and accusing us. I have it very safely with me. I have also with me the judgment given by Honorable Justices Ivlu Lalit and Indu Malhotra. I have opened the page where they have dealt with the report of the amicus curiae. I have put it there. So whenever I feel like it, I can look at it and think of the grace that Bhagavan has given us to have such a judgment. So I don't want to say anything more about that. It is irrelevant at the moment. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you every single one of them. Mr. Srinivasan, and he himself is a 3 times Guinness Book record winner. Even to become the one-time record winner is not an easy thing. And that also, people say, for a non-white person, it is even more difficult. It's not a reflection on your color. What I meant was a non-European. And that he has got it thrice. He sang his way into the Guinness Book of Records 3 times. I am very, very happy. And the song he the words that he sang in Malayalam were referred specifically to Mahatma Gandhi. And I remember what Mahatma Gandhi said about my uncle. It is all recorded. It's not from my hand. It is all recorded, in which he says, "Do not call me Mahatma, call him Mahatma." That is my uncle. Call my uncle Mahatma. He is the modern Ashoka of India and Travancore, the miracle of modern India. That was specifically relating to the temple entry proclamation of 1936, 12th of November. I have had the good fortune again when I said Saubhagyatinte Santadi, I have had the good fortune of having lived all my life, along with that of my siblings, my sister, my brother, our children, and my mother. All of us have lived all our lives under the umbrella of our uncle, Chitra Thirunal Maharaja. We were born in the Gaudiya Palace. We lived all our lives there until he moved on to the feet of Padmanabha. I can never use the term demise as far as he is concerned. He can never die like him. They all live on and on. They are what is called immortal. So there is no question of a switch off there. So till he moved on to the feet of Padmanabha Swami, we have lived there in the Gaudiya Palace with him, where we continue to live even today because of his grace and the grace of Padmanabha Swami. I have nothing more to say. I'm overwhelmed. And as you spoke, when many of you spoke, because I don't understand the language, when many of you spoke, and when I heard the term Padmanabha Swami, and when you mentioned my uncle, who was to us Pratyaksha Padmanabha, suddenly at many times this entire audience faded away from my eyes, and I could only see the temple and Padmanabha Swami. That was really a very unique, mystical experience for me, to look at an audience and suddenly see the entire audience being replaced by the aura of God. All of you are children of God. Maybe that is why I saw like that. This very precious award, like all the 70 awards I have received before now, I accept with all humility and in all gratitude and happiness from all of you and from the family and from the organizations. And like the other awards, this award too, I submit in all adoration at the feet of Sri Padmanabha Swami. Padmanabha Pade Samarpayami. Thank you very much.